Pump and dump, or more likely dump and pump in this case. Yeah, this could be the headline of today's show. We are seeing things unfolding on the cryptocurrency markets that we didn't think were possible just a couple of days ago. Welcome to episode 4 of That Crypto Show. My name is Dirk Hartig. I have the pleasure of being your host today, and I also have the pleasure of being the head of trading education here at primexpt.com. In today's show, we really just have one topic. Our favorite moon boy, Elon Musk, had an appearance yesterday at the conference, the B Word, and said some things that the market at least thinks is very, very positive for cryptocurrencies in general, and especially for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. And what Elon says and what the impacts this are, especially for possible trading positions, we are going to discuss, of course, today. First of all, if you're not already doing so, please follow us on Twitter at px_academy and watch out for great news, great comments, great analysis of the cryptocurrency markets posted every day for you. If you have any questions relating to trading activities, relating to your trading positions, maybe where you would like to have an expert opinion on, you can get in touch with us by email at academy@primexpt.com. We are going to answer every single email. If your question is something that might be interested for more people out there, we of course are going to cover your question also on one of our next shows. You can, of course, also ask your question here live on the YouTube chat or Twitch chat, depending on what platform you're currently watching us. All right, before we start, like every day, guys, the risk disclaimer. It's everything we are presenting here to you is very well researched by us. We are all experts here, but it's not meant as financial advice. Our mission here is to educate you that you yourself can make better informed trading decisions. So there's only one person responsible for your fate and success in trading, and that really is you. So please take this by heart before you try to copy anything that I'm showing you here. Okay, let's just jump into it. And you guys know I always like to look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, which was just updated now, I think. Yeah, very good, 3 minutes ago. So very fresh still. Extreme fear, slightly better than yesterday. We had a sentiment of 19, today 21. And if you followed the prior 3 shows, you know that I personally am a fan of trading with a trend. And one part of analyzing how to place your trades or where the trend is going is always looking at the sentiment every day. And the sentiment has been very, very low for weeks now already in the sector of extreme fear, which usually means that the cryptocurrency market, especially Bitcoin, is going to react more to the downside. So to bad news, it will be overreacting than to the upside. And today is really a special occasion because I think this rule of thumb is broken today. And why that is so, we are going to look at, of course, later on in this show. So, what happened? We saw a slump 2 days ago under 30,000, and we covered that in depth. And if you have been watching a little bit longer, you heard me saying a couple of times, I'm waiting for the catalyst for something I like to call a volatility squeeze, either to the upside or to the downside. The last days it looked, of course, more like that it's going to be to the downside. And 2 days ago, at first, I thought, okay, seems like we are going to have this volatility squeeze to the downside. The volatility squeeze is quite easy to identify. So if you are working with Bollinger Bands, and I'm just using them for illustrating here because I think you can illustrate what a volatility squeeze is very nicely with them. So what you're looking for is that the Bollinger Bands get very, very narrow. Let me get my brush here. So for example, like in this area, very narrow, and then suddenly they start diverting up and down like a scissor opening up. So it's a little bit like what you're seeing here. Actually, you're looking for a steeper angle on both sides here, but I think it illustrates it very okay. So, and because you will see something like this after the market has been trading sideways for a bit. And at first I thought we were going to see it to the downside now, but if you watched, I also noted that I found it a bit weird that we didn't really try to attack this last support here around $29,000. Everybody was writing already, the media, and I talked about this yesterday, to be careful on what you're reading out there. So everybody was covering this, the media saying, oh, now that we're 30,000 broke, we're going to see 20, we're going to see 50, we're going to see 10,000, Bitcoin is going to zero. So the usual FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doom that you will always have when either the market goes extremely down, or the FOMO, like everybody, fear of missing out when the market goes extremely up. And we didn't really see this. So this was not a volatility squeeze. I said back then it's weird that the market is trading sideways, and back then my strategy was, okay, sentiment is still not good. Let's try to play short trades here around 30,000, which worked out very nicely 2 times. Third time stopped out with a little bit of loss. And what we saw then yesterday morning is suddenly a rise above the 30,000. And if you were watching, you might remember that I said it was a bit weird because this move was really very sudden. If you look at the 5-minute candles, if you look at the 1-minute candles, you can see that it really happened within a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. So it seems like there was a big order, somebody, maybe a whale, like placing a big trade, buying a big trade market, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of coins even. And trades like this can still influence the Bitcoin price momentarily, at least quite substantially. Because in comparison to other markets, the cryptocurrency markets are still rather small compared to the Forex market, for example, where you have a daily turnover of over 4 trillion US dollars, which is the GDP of Japan, the yearly GDP of Japan, not the daily, of course. So it's crazy, much more harder to manipulate. And if you have a buy order of 100 million euro against US dollar, you're hardly going to move the market, maybe a pip or two. So for me, yesterday morning, it was not really clear what happened there. I thought like, okay, either somebody bought, like that had maybe the same thought that I had, that said like, okay, it's weird that there's no continuation pattern to the downside, so we are more likely to go to the upside again. And maybe it were stop losses placed there on short positions that were knocked out. But the revelation of what was really happening, in my opinion, came yesterday evening in the form of a virtual Bitcoin conference called the B Word. And this conference had participants, very famous participants, in the form of Elon Musk. I think he doesn't need any further introduction. I like to call him the Moon Boy also. So CEO of companies like Tesla, CEO of companies like a company called SpaceX. And he appeared alongside Cathie Wood, who is the CEO of ARK Invest. ARK Invest is an investment management company from New York City. They have around about, I think, 52 or 53 billion US dollars asset under management. So they are not one of the biggest ones. They are also not really a small one out there. And they are quite heavily involved in Bitcoin as well, with Cathie Wood being one of the more outspoken people out there and propagating the future use of Bitcoin for the global economy. And last but not least, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who's always also very outspoken about Bitcoin in a positive manner. And of course, first of all, it was for me rather surprising that Elon Musk agreed to to participate in this virtual conference live, and of course everybody wanted to listen. What is he going to say about Bitcoin? Because remember in March when Musk announced that Tesla is going to start to accept Bitcoin as a means of payment for their cars, and then just I think it was like 39 days or something later, they sacked this decision again because they said Bitcoin is dirty. It's produced its mined from dirty energy, mainly by coal energy, and this doesn't fit into the green image of Tesla, obviously. And kind of understandable, of course. There's always the question like, why do you have to make an announcement like this if you want to protect it? So that seemed to be, in my opinion, some pressure from the shareholders, maybe even some pressure from China, because as you know, China is a very big market for Tesla as well, and China is not really keen on Bitcoin, and especially Bitcoin mining being forbidden there. And well, what Elon Musk said, or the takeaways really were surprising to me, at least, because he said he personally owns Bitcoin. He also owns a bit of Ethereum and Dogecoin, but he owns more Bitcoin than Ethereum and Dogecoin. Tesla owns Bitcoin. We knew about this, so Tesla hasn't sold all of their Bitcoin. I think they sold a little bit in profit. And new news, SpaceX owns Bitcoin. And this is really something new. It was speculated that SpaceX has Bitcoin on their balance sheet, but there was no official statement on this. On a more funny note, and this is typical Elon Musk always, look at the t-shirt he was wearing. So the evolution of men, the evolution of payments, underneath there with Bitcoin being the pinnacle. And it's from a trader's perspective, always very, very, very funny and very strange that these details, like Elon Musk wearing a T-shirt like this, where there's a Bitcoin to see, where it seems like he believes Bitcoin is the next evolution of money, that people really take this as something very important, as if there's a hidden message that Elon wants to bring out to the world, when in reality he's probably just being funny, because he likes to do jokes, bad jokes sometimes, very often actually. This I consider as a good joke. So what he said in terms of Tesla is that once Tesla sees that the energy use for Bitcoin mining, for Bitcoin in general, is around or above 50% of renewable energy, then Tesla will resume accepting Bitcoin as payments. So it seems like really the pressure was from the shareholders there, and Tesla thought of a way what has to happen, that Bitcoin, with its still dirty image, whether that might be true or not, can be accepted as a payment for when you're buying Tesla cars. Again, so this is really cool, because what we are seeing at the moment is, after China clamped down on Bitcoin and for Bitcoin mining, first of all, we saw the hash rate going dramatically down from the 180 we had at the top, down by more than a half to around about 85. We are recovering slowly now, because what we are seeing is that the Bitcoin miners are slowly moving from China to regions of the world that are more friendly in terms of Bitcoin mining, primarily the USA and Canada, where they are not relying very much on fossil energy. That was the main critic. In China, a lot of coal energy generated from burning coal was used for mining Bitcoin, and especially in countries like Canada, this is of course different. So there's more renewable energy used, and so we are seeing this transition. Of course, this is a transition that cannot be done within a day or week or month. You have to imagine these are multi-million companies, hundreds of millions worth, hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment that have to be moved, plus probably all the customs declarations and so on and so forth that needs to be done, setting everything up. So this is not really done. This is quite a technical, complex operation and a complex logistical operation taking place there. But we see here, and I'm very happy about this personally, I must say, that what really the Bitcoin network can withstand. Yeah, we saw one country completely clamping down on mining, and then we see the natural transition of the decentral networks to regions that are more friendly towards mining with renewable energies. So it seems like the network is still working and not so easy to destroy, like maybe some countries like China would wish it was or it were. So what does that mean now? And I'm a little bit shaken and I'm a little bit torn inside here. First of all, I think from a standpoint or from an ecological standpoint, it's of course good to see that there are initiatives from influential people. And I mean, you can think of what you want about Elon Musk. He has a lot of influence. He's not your typical corporate CEO that has more like a Teflon suit, and everything you throw at them is just going to be reflected, because they cannot or they don't want to have an opinion, a public opinion at least, about controversial topics, different with Elon Musk. It's good to see that Bitcoin is not a no-go for his companies, and it's of course good to see that SpaceX has also Bitcoin on the balance sheet now. I'm a little bit torn on the other side that somebody like this has such a large influence on the cryptocurrency markets. And if you see this large candle where I said I didn't know what was a large order, that stopped. Now looking back, it looks a little bit to me like maybe there was somebody or party of people that knew what would be said in the evening at this B-Word conference and that pre-bought the market. I, at least fundamentally, I cannot see any other reason for that. But for you as a trader, this had a tremendous chance. And because remember what I said about volatility squeezes, and we have been, maybe we are going to continue like this in Bitcoin in a market phase where we were going sideways a lot with the Bollinger Band squeezing, and then you had this large breakout here. So this green candle was a volatility squeeze to the upside. And maybe I can illustrate this a bit better. You see the Bollinger Band here, sloping up, and here down. So really in a good angle, opening up like a scissor. And if you would have traded this, you would have earned really some good money. Really good trade here. I personally didn't do it, I have to admit, because for me, the catalyst was lacking. When normally I want to see like a fundamental use being a catalyst for something like this, because you have to understand one thing, and this is really important. And this only appears, this is only important when you're not scalping. So if you are trading 1 minute charts, 5 minute charts, up and down the whole day, this information is not for you. But if you have a little bit more of a longer term view, so maybe you want to hold on to your trading positions for days or weeks or months, then fundamental facts are always more important than technical facts. Yeah, base your position then on fundamental facts. And for me, for engaging in a position here yesterday and holding onto it maybe for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it was lacking the fundamental fact. Now, of course, looking back, yeah, I could have connected the dots there, saying, okay, there's going to be this conference, maybe something nice is going to be said at this conference. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have invited Elon Musk anyway, with Jack Dorsey and Cathie Woods being such big pro speakers of Bitcoin. So what can we do now moving forward? First of all, it looks a bit like the market is slowing down now. And whenever you see candles with like these large wicks either to the upside, downside, and up in a move up. When the wicks are to the upside, it seems like the market is a little bit exhausted then. So it's going into a consolidation phase, and this is, in my opinion, what we are seeing right now. So right now we are I'll use this one. We are seeing it here. We are kind of oscillating here between 35, 30, what is that? Let's say 30,200 to 30,400, and the downside here around 31,500. So we have this oscillation range again of $1,000, which is very typical. And two scenarios now. It's would be surprising to me when the market completely continues to ignore what Elon Musk said there yesterday evening. So I expect that the sentiment of extreme fear is going to be something that's a little bit sidelined. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more upwards buying slowly, maybe not in those large green candles, up to maybe 34, 35, 36,000 again. And then maybe we are going to have this catalyst to the upside. If we see Bitcoin going down again and slowly or maybe even fast approaching the area of 31,000, breaking through it, 30,000, then I think we are really in trouble, because that would mean despite the most positive event. And remember, Tesla, Elon Musk twittering that Tesla is not going to accept Bitcoin as the terms of payment anymore, as a mean of payment anymore, and China clamping down on Bitcoin miners was the reason, the fundamental news reason why we fell all the way down fast, slowly from 65,000 to around about 30,000. So a reversal of that news actually. Now Elon Musk giving hope again, we are going to accept Bitcoin soon again when we see 50% of Bitcoin mining being done by renewable energies, with the Bitcoin mining operations moving from China to more Bitcoin-friendly regulatory environments and countries. So it's the complete opposite. It's the turnaround of the bad news we saw there, of the bad fundamental facts. And if the market is not reacting it doesn't need to be euphoric, but in a positive, slowly rising price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, then in my opinion, this would be very bad news. Then I would think like that the sentiment of extreme fear is really going on. So for day trading activities, at least me personally, I'm going to stay on the sideline a little bit today, because the market movements are not reflecting the sentiment at the moment. Sentiment is a lagging indicator, I have to say. So the sentiment will probably change a bit to the positive in the next day. It's not jumping like from one day extreme fear to extreme greed. So that is not possible. It's always lagging a little bit, which is typical for all indicators out there. Also Bollinger Bands, moving average, RSI, whatever you are using, they're all always lagging indicators because they can only reflect the current price and of course not the future. And so I'm going to stay at the sidelines, and I'm going to be very nosy, and I'm going to be very curious how Bitcoin will handle this, especially over the weekend. Tomorrow is Friday already, when the turnover on the cryptocurrency markets tend to be a little bit low. So I think exciting times ahead of us. Let's see if we are seeing the turnaround, the fundamental turnaround of sentiment here on the cryptocurrency markets right now, or if maybe tomorrow or next week we are returning to our usual trading ranges between 30,000 and 36,000. By the way, what I'm telling you here, of course, is only valid for trading positions. So if you are trading, you use 100% of your capital just for trading. The way I do it, and the way probably every professional investor out there does it, is that you use the largest part of your net worth, of your liquidity, for long-term positions. So, for example, if you are a strong believer in Bitcoin for the future, like I am, you might want to buy every now and then Bitcoins or Satoshis and put them into cold storage long term, and then use something like 5 or 10 or 15 or 20% of your liquidity for trading more short term. And because obviously this is where fun is, isn't it? And there are more than enough chances. In times like this, sometimes I think it's also not wrong to stand a little bit at the sideline, because like I just said, it's going to probably take a couple of days to see are we really witnessing a change of sentiment here. A change of sentiment being that, hold on, would mean that we see something like this in terms of development. So something like this, jupe, 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 jupe. Oh, now I deleted it, sorry. So again, so slowly or faster inching our way up, or are we going to see the opposite, being returning into our bear market patterns and attacking the 29,000 there? So this arrow, of course, should be red. And I cannot really say where my bets are on at the moment. That's why I'm saying I want to, at least for short-term trading, stay a little bit on the sideline today and see how it plays out today. Should we see that today that Bitcoin really moves higher and we are approaching the 33,000 or 34,000, then actually I think it's a change of sentiment, and then we might prepare for our day trading to trade more long trades than short trades. But we'll see how it pans out, and I will see you, ladies and gentlemen, again next Tuesday. As you know, we are 3 times a week live, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday at 10 a.m. CET. If you miss the show, you always have the opportunity also to watch it later on Twitch TV or on YouTube. And be sure also to claim your 50% deposit bonus with the promo code Trading Academy, and you can do so if you go into the section margin on the left here account and type in Trading Academy as a promo code, click on activate, and then you'll get from primexpd.com a 50% deposit bonus on all your deposits until October, which is free margin and can make your trading a little bit more secure. And by the way, you can keep all winnings that you make with this 50% deposit bonus. So there are really not the usual mean strings attached to it. Until then, stay safe out there, have fun, have a good weekend ahead, and see you guys again next Tuesday. Goodbye.